Here are 3 ways to think about work when it comes to your narrative. Hi, I'm Cameron and I'm a fantasy author. And in our stories that we create, we take a lot of time to consider the grand journey that we find our heroes and heroines on. But beyond that, there are real people living real lives, and that could be our characters included. Work and responsibility is a very real, very visceral part of all of our stories, even though it's kind of a boring thing to talk about. But it doesn't need to be. At least not when you consider these 3 things. The first is weather and climate. Maybe you live in a salt, flat sea. Perhaps you're in the middle of a forest, or maybe you're on the edge of a mountain and it's snow all over the place. Within high fantasy, work often revolves around the worlds that people actually live in. In the woods, perhaps they are threshers or tanners. Live by the ocean, maybe they're a fisherman. If they live up north or around the pole, perhaps they even saw out ice from floes. Work, in and of itself, it can be a reflection of the area in which the person lives, and it should be. And yes, there are ubiquitous things, like if you want someone who's a tattoo artist, they can live anywhere they want. But perhaps consider that within their specific profession, there's different ways in which they can go about doing it, depending on the climate. The second thing to think about is status. And while it's kind of a given, it's not necessarily something that's on the forefront of our minds when we're first starting out to tell a story. Lavishness and wealth are a reflection of this, or consequently, the lack thereof. If your character is poor, don't give them a job as a politician. If your character is wealthy, then maybe they aren't a stable hand. Of course, you could flip these on their heads, too. Perhaps the stable hand has an inheritance that they are just figuring out about. Or the politician was crowdfunded by people who wanted to see them succeed. Work doesn't define the economics by which our characters live. It merely offers us a suggestion as to how the world is constructed. A set of norms, if you will. The third thing that you should consider is character traits. In that, do our characters actually like the work that they're doing? Or do the people themselves? If your character is a smith, do they take their anger out with the hammer on the anvil? Or is it a delicate craft in which they love honing their piece by making these exquisite things? How your character reacts, or the people that do work react to it, it can say a lot about the situation that they're in. Their mindsets, their mentalities, where they are in their state of being. And that can be just as important as the work in and of itself. So when you're making your stories, do take care to outline and ameliorate on these different facets. Work matters to the lifeblood of our characters. It makes our worlds feel real. And that, my friends, is nothing we should discount. Be sure to like, share, and of course subscribe, and hit the link in bio to subscribe to the great fantasy story, My Story.